Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Massimiliano Berzot, and I'm the customer consultant of Elsevier for South Europe. Thank you for joining this training about the Scopus APIs, the application programming interfaces. We are going to start the presentation in a few minutes, but before that, we are going to show you a video related to the Fecyt activity of trainings for Scopus. So let's share this video and then we will start.
La Fundación Española para la Ciencia y la Tecnología pone a disposición de investigadores españoles de las instituciones de I+D+I el acceso a Scopus. Scopus es una base de datos de referencias bibliográficas que contiene más de 19.000 revistas de más de 5.000 editores internacionales, con referencias citadas desde 1996. Además, incluye patentes, websites integradas y datos de producción científica de revistas de todas las disciplinas científicas, y en especial de salud, ciencias físicas, ciencias de la vida y ciencias sociales, dentro de la misma herramienta, permitiendo la localización de la información de forma ágil. Gestionada desde 2011 por Fecyt, Scopus ofrece a los investigadores bibliografía de investigación que se publica sobre sus áreas de interés, el impacto que tienen sus artículos y alertas personalizadas. Si es un gestor de biblioteca universitaria o de un centro de investigación, gracias a Scopus podrá evaluar la importancia de las revistas científicas que tiene en sus depósitos, saber qué debe suscribir y qué debe dejar de suscribir en función del impacto de la revista, además de conocer las áreas más importantes en el mundo de la investigación. Destaca también la presencia de dos métricas de impacto: Simago Journal Rank, SJR, Source Normalized Impact Per Paper, SNIP, y Site Score Metrics, introducida en el 2016. Asimismo, Scopus encuentra automáticamente perfiles de instituciones y autores en función del grado de coincidencia de la información y ofrece la posibilidad de modificarlos online. Scopus tiene especial cobertura en ciencias sociales y humanidades, así como mayor presencia de artículos europeos, con un 56% del total de artículos indexados dentro de Scopus. Integra el 100% de los registros de Medline e integra la búsqueda de registros con Science Direct en la misma plataforma si el centro la tiene suscrita. Fecyt aporta una interlocución única con Elsevier, que facilita el acceso a un recurso vital para los investigadores. Le aporta una completa formación presencial y online adecuada a las necesidades del centro y del investigador, con material didáctico necesario para los cursos, con el fin de incrementar el uso y potenciar el conocimiento de la herramienta. Además, ofrece una página web con toda la información disponible del proyecto en www.recursoscientíficos.fecyt.es y un servicio de atención al usuario e institución a través de la cuenta recursoscientíficos@fecyt.es. No solo para la resolución de incidencias, sino también para canalizar las consultas con el proveedor, ejerciendo de interlocutor único con las instituciones. Durante 2015, Elsevier, junto con Fecyt, desarrolló una nueva funcionalidad que permite a los investigadores españoles poder exportar en formato CVN el resultado de las búsquedas realizadas en Scopus, incorporando las citas y el impacto del artículo dentro del currículo. De forma sencilla, desde su perfil de autor, el investigador podrá exportar en formato CVN los artículos asignados en dicho perfil, generando un currículo normalizado con esta información, que posteriormente podrá importar a su CVN. Scopus va dirigido a investigadores de universidades, CSIC, centros tecnológicos, parques científicos, servicios de investigación agraria, organismos públicos de investigación y administraciones públicas relacionados con el I+D+I. En total, más de 85 instituciones han suscrito ya el servicio y cuenta con el acceso a más de 231 centros. La institución interesada deberá firmar un acuerdo de colaboración con Fecyt para establecer las condiciones y responsabilidades de uso. Para solucionar cualquier duda o consulta, Fecyt pone a disposición de los usuarios la cuenta de correo recursoscientíficos@fecyt.es. Fecyt está comprometida con la sociedad, poniendo a disposición de los centros e investigadores las principales bases de datos de referencias bibliográficas, mediante la gestión de licencias nacionales en condiciones muy ventajosas. Scopus es la forma más fácil y sencilla para tener un acceso rápido a los artículos científicos más importantes a nivel mundial.
Okay, thank you. We are going to start with the presentation. And so let's start with the presentation. The presentation will be in English, but you will get also a document and some slides for a deck in Spanish, just a reference for you in order to remember the contents and the topics of this training. So let's start with the presentation, and the title is Demystifying Scopus APIs. And let's see the agenda for today. So we will see how Scopus APIs works and why do they matter. What is the procedure to start using Scopus and other Elsevier APIs? How are Scopus APIs most commonly used by academic, government, and corporate customers? And then we will see some examples of current users of the Scopus APIs. I will try to show you something also on other websites to check how the APIs are used. Why the Scopus APIs are important? Scopus capture articles being published in virtually all scholarly journals, and it's also a database. It's profiling authors in an institution. The Scopus user interface you can find on scopus.com offer to all the users the opportunity, the possibility to search and do queries, trying to find contents and information about the production, the scientific production of institutions. But this is not only the only way you can get contents and information from Scopus. You can also extract automatically data from the Scopus database, and you can do that through the application program interfaces. So these application programming interfaces are really important, and a lot of the different products from Elsevier are providing this way to get information from our solutions. So you can, we are talking about Scopus APIs, but also Science Direct is the website where you can find all the contents from the Elsevier journals. Also, Science Direct is providing application programming interface, Engineering Village, Embase, other database from Elsevier are providing this way to interact and to do queries from the database. If we are talking about Scopus data, you can see Scopus is indexing contents from serial titles from more than 5,000 publishers. We are talking about around now 71 million items available on the database. And on Scopus, you can also get information about the cited references from all these items dating back to 1970. Scopus is also providing information about all these contents clustered by the algorithm of Scopus for the main institutional profiles and more than 12 million author profiles. So through Scopus, you can get a lot of information. You can identify what are the contents you need for your research activity. You can find and decide what, where, and with whom to collaborate, looking for authors. You can track the impact of the research of an institution, for instance. So you can find a lot of different information from the database. And this database, these more than 70 million of items are available through the platform scopus.com, but you can also do queries through the application program interface. So here you can see on the next slide how Scopus is delivering data. So as you can see on the left of the screen, Scopus.com is the interface, is the web interface to get information from the database. So from Scopus.com, and probably you are aware about how Scopus.com is working. We are doing other trainings related to how to use Scopus.com. But with Scopus.com, you can do queries, you can search for documents, for articles, you can look for authors and institutions, you can do analysis from the Scopus.com web interface. And on the right, you can see we also can provide to customers and to users the raw data of Scopus. So the raw data of Scopus are simply the custom data. So all the informations can be available for who has this interest in analyzing Scopus data in a bulk delivery. This means that we can provide all the data in the raw data format. But also you can interact and you can get information from Scopus through the Scopus APIs. So this means that you can use application program interface to get information directly from the database, and we are going to see how to do that. Calling our REST API is just like, doing what you are doing through the web browser of the Scopus.com, but not directly from the browser. So you are not writing your queries in the web page of Scopus.com. You are creating some way a program. You are creating a program, and you are asking to Scopus to provide you on regular basis information from the database. So when you are using an API, the output of the query is not an HTML document, but it's an XML format. XML data format can be processed by a computer program. APIs usually don't use a username and password for access, but you need to get an API key in order to do these queries and to create your own API in order to get the information you need. In order to get your API key, you have to land on the dev.elsevier.com website. When you are registered to the website, and to be registered to the website, you can use also the login details you are using for Scopus.com or for Science Direct, for instance. Then you can get your API key. You can read the document to understand all the capabilities of the APIs, and you can start coding. So you can start creating your application or program to use the API with all the information you want to get from the database, the Scopus database. So the API is simply a way to get from the Scopus database the information you need. And of course, you can use this API to to have all the information you are looking for on different websites, like the website of your institution or the website of your department, your personal website, for instance. So you can use the APIs in order to have this flow from Scopus to other external websites on a regular basis. When we are talking about APIs, we are not only talking about one or two APIs. We have several different APIs available for Scopus. And here in the slide, you can see all the APIs available for the users of the database. And we will see briefly what they do, and we briefly show you some examples about all the APIs available from Scopus. But let's start getting your API key from the developer sites. So you have to go to dev.elsevier.com website and get your API key. I'm going to show you this directly online. So this is the website we are talking about. So di.elsevier.com, and this is the developers Elsevier website. And here you can find all the information you need in order to manage and get your APIs programs. So first of all, from this website, you can look at the use cases. So use cases are the list of all the available APIs from Scopus. So here you can simply click on what you need. For instance, you can click on Cited by in Scopus. And for each API program, then you can get all the information related to the policy, some examples about what you can get with this API, and of course also all the conditions you have to respect in order to use correctly this application programming interface. For each one, you can get all the information on the Elsevier developers. So if you want to use the data mining of Elsevier full text content, then here you can see the detailed policy and the guide to how to text mining, all information related to this API. Then when you decide to get a specific API, you only need to have access to this service, and to have access to the API service, you have to get your API key. How to get your API key? You can simply get your API key clicking here on Get API Key link. You need to be logged into the Elsevier system. So I don't know if you can see, but you have to put into the fields your email or username and the password of the details of your account for other Elsevier databases or websites like Scopus and Science Direct. And where you are logged in, then in this case you can see I already have one API key. But if you don't have any API key, then you can create a new one. And this is the code of your API key. So let's see, you can create more than one API key. And here you can write the label of the API key. So for instance, I can call this API key because I want to use this application program interface key in order to get citations. So I can use, I can label this API key like citation. And then, for instance, this is related to the citation I want to show in my personal website. For instance, my personal website is elsevier.com. And here you can see the domain. You cannot change this, the domain of your API key, and then you can update. So here you can find also all the API key you ask for and you have for the use you want. Let me correct this. And of course, you can manage all your API's keys, so you can delete an API key if you don't need it, if you don't need no more the API key, or you can simply create a new one. When you have your API key, then the next step is to start coding. To start coding, of course, you have to have an information technology background. So when you start coding, you can click here on the link, and you have to check out what are the languages in order to code your API from Scopus. I can show you something related to the coding and how to create the API key, and I can do it from this slide. For instance, this is an example of an API request. So, for instance, I'm looking to retrieve records from Scopus related to contents and records authored by anyone with the last name Brown written in chemistry journals. So I can sign up for my developer key, and I show you how to do that. Then I register the new project, I read the documentation about the API and how to code this request, and then finally, this is the API key to retrieve this information. As you can see, this is simply something that you can put into your browser. So, and I can show you how this looks when you are copying and paste this link to your browser. So we can, let me check. Okay, you can copy and paste this in a browser, and then here you can see what is the output of this request from this API. So here you can see it's not something that you can see on an HTML format. It's an XML file, and of course all the results from these APIs can be integrated in other websites, and they can provide information on a regular basis. So this is how it looks, a request from an API from Scopus. So we can check some examples of APIs on some websites. Let me show you, for instance, cited by API integration examples. Here on the website of +ONE or on the website of the University of Hong Kong, you can see there are some APIs about citations. So on +ONE, for instance, and you can check all the articles from +ONE, you can find information about citation from Scopus. So the application program interface creates this connection between Scopus and the website of +1, and every day this flow between the two websites, between the database and the website of +1, is providing updated number of citation of this article, for instance. So this is how the API from Scopus works, and you can see the number of citations from Scopus. Same with the University of Hong Kong, for instance, website. Here you can find other information related to publication from authors of this university, of this institution, and also with the API, the Scopus API, the University of Hong Kong is showing to the users, to everyone is looking at the website, how many citations are related to publication from authors from this institution. Let's check and let's see other examples of Scopus APIs. For instance, we can see the website of the Lincoln University. In this web site, you can find also reports and statistics related to all the publication from authors of this university. And here you can check and you can see there are some information related to Scopus here. Research papers indexing in Scopus. So in this widget is showing the results of a query created by an application program interface, a Scopus application program interface. So this flow, this link between the database, the Scopus database, and this website is provided by the application program interface, and it's providing update information related to papers indexed in Scopus from authors of this university. So we can immediately see that the number of authors indexed in Scopus from this university, and the number of research papers with a breakdown per month. So you can also get this information from Scopus with a breakdown per month. So you can see immediately how many publications are from authors of this institution on January, then on February, on March and April, and so on. So this is an example of an application program interface for an institution website. This is from the Nature website. When you land on an article from Nature, you can click on more details, and here you can get information about this article published on the Nature journal. So you can see the total number of citations, and Nature is getting information about citation from 3 different websites. So from Web of Science, Crossref, and Scopus. And to get this information from Scopus, they are using a Scopus API. And this Scopus API is created only to get the number of citation of this specific article published by Nature. So this is another way in order to get information from Scopus and integrate this information on your website, for instance. APIs are also used in order to get data from Scopus and put this data on the institutional repository, for instance. So this is the institutional repository of an institution. And here, when you are looking for instance, researcher statistics, Then you can click here on researcher search, and let's get, I don't know, Alberto Manuel Rodriguez Silva, and in the web page of all the publication from this researcher, you can immediately see if this article is indexed in Scopus, is published in Scopus or not. So this is another application program interface who is gathering, getting information and data from the Scopus database, and it's providing all this information in the institutional repository. So in this case, you can immediately see if all the publications from this author are indexed in which kind of bibliographic database. So some of them are in Scopus, only in Scopus, other are in Scopus, Web of Science, and Crossref, and other databases. So everything is available on the repository of the institution. And let's see. Okay, this is not another example I can show you. Can continue with the presentation. So yeah, here you can get on the static slides the examples I show you before. Also, the APIs are used by the university institution for academic research. So yeah, institutions are using APIs to analyze and getting, for instance, information about citations of articles published by the institution, or getting information about, for instance, relationship between authors, geographic locations, and their academic affiliations. This can be retrieved by the application program interface based on co-authors, for instance, or doing analysis about the relationship of citing works from a limited set of publications. In order to get all the information for academic researchers, or doing this kind of analysis, getting information from the Scopus API dedicated to this analysis, you have to visit the website of dev.elsevier.com, review the documentation for academic use, of course, register an API key, and get in contact with us to have access, and if you have questions to how to create this kind of API application program interface related to this this information. So the application program interface are just a way for computer application to and programs and other websites to talk to each other. So they are something like robots or programs that are creating this communication between Scopus and other repositories, other websites, for instance, or also simply other programs without the human interface. So instead to go every day on Scopus.com and check, for instance, the number of citations of a specific article of a specific author, you can create, if you are interested, an API and get this information and create this flow from Scopus to another website in order to get every day on a daily basis the information, the updated information you need. So in a nutshell, APIs are something like this. So that's all. Of course, this was an introduction to APIs. Remember, if you want to know more, you can get more information from the developer website, Elsevier website. You can find a lot of information, a lot of guides there. You can get in touch with some colleagues from the help desk in order to have more support from Elsevier about APIs. And of course, you need a background of coding in order to create your own API, and in order to integrate this API with the website, the repository, or the program you want to connect to Scopus. Everything is available on the developer portal from Elsevier. So here, I just to recap, here you can get your API key. Here you can see all the specification related to the APIs. So here you can get all the API interface specifications and the general purposes of APIs. Here you can check all the interactive APIs with examples by function from all the products. Remember, APIs are not only for Scopus, but also other platforms have APIs available. And the how-to guides are really important and very useful for the coding. So here you can find all the guides related to the different APIs available, and of course also the frequent asked questions. And here you can see what are the most frequent questions from users. So probably you can find also some answers to your questions and to your issues in using APIs from Scopus. Okay, that's it for this training related and this presentation related to Scopus APIs. You will get on the Fecyt website the PDF of this presentation for your reference, and also a presentation in Spanish, not really updated, but from last months in Spanish, just to recap what we talked about today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and get in touch.